Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to part 13 of the X-Wing fighter build. Today we're going to do a little bit of finishing up on some detail painting on the fuselage and stuff, and then we're going to move on to decals. Yay! Let's see how these decals work. They are around for a long time. One has a little bit of a dent from sitting in a box where a sprue was probably pushed up against it, and so I'm expecting some of that brown ookiness to probably come off because the paper does have a brown tint to it, so that's usually what happens. But yeah, I'm excited. Let's get some decals on. So, I finally got the engines all taken care of as far as the gray stripe around the thing and the black, and touched any areas that the tape wanted to peel. So that's looking really good. So she's coming along. I'm really looking the way it's coming together. And I just taped off in here because I'm going to do this panel lightly with some green. Again, I'm following that DeAgostini's 1/18 scale that I have downstairs. She's a big one. Maybe I'll pause and bring her up. Okay, and here she is. A little dusty because she's been sitting downstairs on display. Still got a lot of work to do to her. As far as weathering, I want to chip up some areas, especially on the wings and here. Yeah, I gotta go through and dust her. Do some more weathering. It needs a lot of weathering up in here behind R2. But for the most part, it's really not. The little bit of weathering they did is a good kind of start. I went and painted the canopy blue. They had it like, it was almost like an off green kind of thing looking, and I did a silver underneath and then the blue on top, so natural chips are showing up like metal, which is nice. Did a lot of customization, especially on the panels that light up inside here. Painted them up differently, and actually drilled out some of the. They just had some square lights that were just going to get lit white. I actually drilled some holes on the buttons and put fiber optics down. They're working pretty good. Some glow better than others, but you know, I think there's now a whole like paragraphics photo etch thing. It would be nice to have some lights up on here, but you know, I went and painted some things more like that, whatever that thing is with the line that goes up to it. But the detail work on this is so much nicer than I think the paragraphics, the photo etch. But I'm not sure. I haven't overly looked at it because she's together and I'm kind of happy the way it is. But maybe it was sometime, because the nice thing about these is you can take them apart. These panels will snap off and you can just unscrew, because it's just like the Millennium Falcon. It's a die cast frame under here. All this frame, all this here is die cast under this plastic. It's all a framework, like a real plane and, you know, a real ship would be in that sense. But this is what I'm kind of reference off of. I don't know how accurate everything is. Like, I don't remember in the movie this black part, but I replicated it. I see it on the Bandai decal list, so I replicated that too. I've already had to replace a laser cannon, but I forgot to take the resistor off because it was a pre-wired resistor. So one's a little dim, but it lights up. The cockpit lights up. If you have, I think you got to have the landing gear out, because I think there's a trigger switch that doesn't allow the wings to open with the landing gear in. That way it's not in sit mode like this, and then someone just takes, because it has a remote, and someone takes a, you know, hits that remote, makes it try to open its wings with all its weight on itself. So you have to pull the, I think, the landing gear out. to get the wings to open. But the wings open, R2 moves and lights up. The way he snaps in there, there's, pull him out, there's little metal tabs at the bottom of his feet that make an electrical connection. And then here's a knob that goes into a socket that has his head turned. So when you hit the R2 button, he'll actually, his head will actually turn back and forth, and he all lights up, all his lights on the. But it's cool. You can't really move his legs back and forth, but if you do have him sit out, he does have the third leg as well, which is cool. And getting him in there, you got to kind of line up that tag, but it works pretty easy. And then I also have the Diorama, which has a a landing platform. Has some cargo boxes. Has the guy, that flatbed where you see the pilots sitting on, and they're driving them to their starships. It has a guy climbing up a ladder. Has a guy getting ready to refuel. But yeah, it's pretty cool. But this is where I'm taking most of my paint detail references, like all this stuff here and the striping. Like I said, I still got to do massive weathering on here. I want to make her look more weathered. They did some pre-weathering. I want to do some more better blasts. Like I said, I want to chip all this stuff up on the wings, maybe a little bit on here. I don't think I'm going to do as much on here. I want to look at some references of the actual studio model too. But this thing is so cool. There's so much you cannot see from the outside. Like inside here, you actually build the components that make the engine supposedly fictitiously work. So there's parts inside here that you can't see unless you pulled this whole thing apart. Now this thing snaps together. Oh, I remember I had to glue this on. It's supposed to bolt in or something like that. But for the most part, it all screws in and snaps together. There's some areas I added glue to make it stronger, like these details. You put all the details on these engines, all those little bars you actually put on in this area. You put some of the tubing on in here. It makes it three-dimensional. Same thing with the tubing and stuff on here, so it's three-dimensional. You actually build the actual engine parts in here, and you can see up inside the intake, and you can see them in there, which is cool. The bottom not so much, because the landing, they had to have a spot where the landing gear went up in. But you can see the frontal parts, but it doesn't have some of the other parts that would get hidden, because it does, these on the other side do flap open for the landing gear. But when the wings open, you do see, like, let's get the smaller guy. Wow, look at the scale difference. Like these engine parts in here, you do see that. That's all part of that build inside there. And then on the top side, there would be like this chrome or gold part. And it does, the magazine tells you what all those parts are. But you do get to build all that stuff. The laser cannons, you actually build inside here. They're just not a hollow tube with a light in it and then this just sticks in it. There's actually the laser mechanism that actually fires the laser is actually in there, and you get to build all that. You don't see it, you just know it's in there. But like I said, these wings are very easy to take apart. Once you open it, you can unscrew it from this, and the bottom part just snaps off the underneath of the wing, and you can get to the screws to unscrew this, take it out. The wiring all uncouples, so it's not like one wire that goes all the way to the circuit board. That's the actual circuit board's inside here. They actually made a wire go to here, and then I think they jumpered it here. Yeah, or they left enough length, but the wire that runs through the wing, but then it couples to the wire that's inside the actual laser cannon. So that's great. But yeah, it all can come apart. All I have to do is pop these things apart, and I can get to stuff. There's all kinds of mechanics down on the underneath of the ship that you can't see. She's almost too tall to even stand up. Here, that's where there's where your post is, where you can screw in, I think it's a 1/4 so you can screw in a stand so she's flying. You have a jack to, it's battery powered. And how do you get to the batteries? I think from here. Yeah, see these panels, it's just magnetized. So that comes off, and you unscrew that. That's how you get to the batteries. The cool thing they did on these magnets is they put north and south, so you make sure you put the opposites. And that just snaps on like that. But yeah, then you have your switch to turn her on, and you have a 2.1 millimeter adapter there to plug it in. And what else? This should come off. This should show your photon torpedoes, and then you can't really see. There's a bunch of mechanisms and a bunch of mechanisms in here that show how these launch. But you can, you build it, but you can never. There we go. There's your photon torpedoes. So yeah, you get to build all that. I weathered it all up. The torpedoes I made left pretty nice. But yeah, the rest of it I really weathered up. Weathered up all the pieces in here and whatever these things are. But like I said, there's a whole coil and everything. Same thing with on the top. Oh, the top is supposed to open, and that's what I don't know. But this definitely opens. I went through and painted these. That brassy gold. But that's really cool. Yeah, and that just magnets on. Simple as that. There we go. But this is supposed to come out, and I never figured out how without everything being in the way. Because even if you take R2 out, this part, I think, that's what you got to do. Well, at least that's making it easier. I don't know. Maybe I got to pop this off and see what's going on here. It should pop right off, I think. There it goes. They're just a little tab, so you want to be careful. You don't want to see what's getting caught up. But this will show you some of the framework. There's some of the die-cast framework. This light is always like where I'm going to hit my head on it. Yeah, so there's the die-cast framework that comes up and around. Now this should... Oh, so you do have to take that off, because this part here will hit. So that's all. Oh, and it's magnetized back here. And I didn't realize that. So that is supposed to come off so you can take this out. That's how it works. So, but this should show you all your warp, your hyperspace. There we go. Oh, I still have it taped in there too. But there's all your hyperdrive coils. There's the two dual hyperdrive engines or something like that. And got them all weathered up. You can press that back down, because there's detail all gets snapped in there. That part, these parts. So you do have to assemble a lot. This doesn't come as a molded piece. You have to put that piece, that piece, that piece. Some of these smaller pieces here, these two lines, this whole thing. You had to build all this, put all these lines in, build all this stuff here, so it's not just one thing. All those lines you had attached that are in there. Sorry, I was off camera. But yeah, so you get to see the innards. And so I have like yellow stuff coming out, like that's some type of toxic hyperdrive coolant coil or whatever. And that shouldn't be like that. There we go. That should fit tighter. There it goes. And then you see how this comes up and ends up being part of that. So that's really cool. But yeah, all these lines are you had to build, and you had to build all that stuff. And it's really cool. And I could, does this pop off? Yeah, I don't know. That'll be a little more difficult. Even there's parts way inside these silver things, like you see the ends, and then there's tubes here. There's all that stuff there they had to put in there too. So there's so much to this build that you don't see, but it's cool because it teaches you the anatomy of the ship. There's the motor that opens the wings, and then if you go down another level, you'll be down into the circuit board, which is right under here. I thought this, you couldn't get to this through because of the R2 unit. But that's awesome. So now I know how to get in there, and I forgot I had tape in here because when I was building it, I would just always just stick that in there just for looks. Or, oops, wrong way. I would always just, you know, stick that in there just for looks, but I didn't want it to fall. Yeah. So that's probably why I was being a bastard too. But yeah, there you go. Yeah, now it wants to come out so much easier. But yeah, so this is made to come off, so. But yeah, see how they, you know, it's just white plastic. It's, so what you gotta do, it looks like, is you, that's my only issue, is you kinda gotta go under that piece. And then slide it forward, I guess. Oh, let's close that cockpit before I bust it. And now you're going to be such a pain in the butt, you're not going to go back together. There it goes. And there you go. Now she's back in. We can throw R2 back in. And there you have it. Well, I'm going to take her back down, but I just figured I'd show her. I'd been talking about it, and I figured I'd let you see. I didn't put the glass in the windows to be more authentic to the actual studio scale. But let me clear this off. I'll be right back, and we'll get back to work. So I went ahead off camera and painted that green. I think that's looking good. I wanted to go a little lighter, but that'll work. So let's take this out of here. Let's get these masks off and see what we got. I found that it's easier to work on it like that when you're doing these. The biggest thing I want to watch is not to pull the gray off of this tape. I taped it on my leg. Hopefully, it's just a little green flow. That's the only problem with I didn't press down hard because I didn't want it to chip that up too much. I mean, some of it wouldn't hurt because it'll look like just normal chips. See if we can get a little water here. Actually, just wipe that off. The gray should be a lot more cured than the green. And that's what did it. A little chippy on the edge, but like I said, we're going to go through and do some wears and tears and chips and stuff on there, so I'm not overly concerned, but yeah. It's going to look good. We got to remove, I'll put this back in. It just helps keep it apart. I got to remove the masking that I put in the center here. Tweezer it out. There we go. Now we're getting down to decals. And like I said, there's not a lot of decals. It's this old school sheet. We got our main wings, top, bottom, and these. And then these I gotta figure out. These I gotta figure out where I can put those. I think they have them laid on down here somewhere. These things have no idea. They look like little spades. They're showing those kind of here, but I don't see them anywhere in anything, so I'm not going to put them there at all. I could always use the black writing part, but whatever that is, I have no idea. But these we could probably find somewhere to put, just to give some detail to it. But yeah, the main thing, I'm worried about that little indent where a sprue went into it. But here I gotta figure out, and I guess I can just measure with my calipers, because I think the red comes with this yellow and gets cut off, and it's white, and then the red starts here, just after the black, but we're about the same spot as the yellow. If you follow this like panel line, you brought straight down, and it goes to about, I think, a little further than the black line. I think it comes about here. So we'll go there, and then that's it on this side. This side will be pretty much the same, except for there'll be a red spot here. So it'll be red, and then some white, and then red, white, and then the red spot again. So I gotta figure out to cut these, because they just gave you one big red stripe, and that's not 100%. It looks like they made it fit from here right to this, just shy of that panel. It's looking like, it's hard to see, probably right to that crease there. So I mean, I'll just caliper that in, you know, to get the measurements, and then go up on this sheet and then slice. And we can always overlap if we have to. And then we'll get these guys down. But there she is. Panel's a little extreme, but I think also there's going to be areas I'm going to come in lightly with white and just mist it. In the Star Wars world, they do that a lot. Oop, there goes my toothpick. They do that a lot. It kind of brings in, it lowers the contrast. So whatever your main hull color is, you know, and you add like panels that are different colors, you just add a light mist. You just stand back and I did it on the Falcon. It looks good. It also gives that little particle chipping and almost like the paint faded. So like this black is really strong, so that's definitely gonna get, like the black here that I added, it's really strong, so that I'll probably mist down like I did on the engines. I misted those, and see how like that black isn't just popping anymore that's inside there. It might be hard to see in the camera, and the same thing with the gray that goes around it. You tone it down, and I'll probably do it with the nozzles too. You know, because this thing kind of looks almost like white with kind of like blotchy colors, you know, but you know, different panels, but they weren't really contrasty. They were just, okay, that's red, but like from afar it almost all looked white. So that's the way to blend that in. So things can be a little more contrast at first here, and then like when I go in with the white, and it'll be real thin and really light, low pressure, just you know. With rattle cane, you stay back really far and let that puff of paint come down, and that'll soften up all the contrast parts. It looks a little contrasty right now. The blue, I don't know if I'm going to do that too. But so I might, but that's why the airbrush comes in nice. I can hit areas that I want to. I will bring this yellow down a little bit, definitely bring the green down. Maybe I'll hit a little more white on these edges to kind of make it look like it's fading away as it goes to the hole. And yeah, and tone some of the grays down. You know, not as much here, but maybe more in there. You know, and if I thin it out, it should work good. But definitely bring the blacks down. And that'll work even with the decal. You know, you can even blast over the decal. But there she is. I like it. So, next thing we got to do, like I said, I'm holding off on putting these on because they're always getting away. And just even moving the big one, trying to grab it, it's like you got these laser cannons like in the way to try to. So it's best to, I think, put them on last before I do my full clears and wash and clears. Although I'm itching to get these guys on because they look so cool once they're on there. It really ties it in. But we'll hold off. We got a little R2 to finish painting up too. I got the dome painted silver. And we'll go in and do some of the blues. We don't have to go too deep because most of his body's going to be hidden. But we'll hit as much as we can, mostly the head and then those arms in the front that he uses his hands that open up like this. We'll hit those, and then we'll get the color displays going, the little red dot and everything like that, and get the blues panels all on his head done up. And then we can get him put in his little happy home. So, welcome back, and it's decal time. Everything's dried in pretty good. That green spot looks pretty good. I took some Scotch-Brite and scraped at it to kind of dull it down. I might do a little more, but I want to get a smaller piece so I can just hit in here and not hit the grays. But I'm liking that. I don't know if I can get the camera to... just to give that other panel something a little different in there. Like I said, I probably will. Let's see if I can. What I was doing is taking a little Scotch-Brite. And it's hard because the wings want to keep closing, so sometimes a little toothpick, if I can get it in the right spots, will help. How did I do that last time? Maybe because I'm actually pushing or holding that up. That kind of helps hold them open a little bit. But you got to do it on the other side because it gets in your way. Just kind of coming in here and just there goes my toothpick. Oh well. I'm liking that a lot better. Then it tones down the green. So let's see if these old decals work. One of these is going to be for that, and then we're going to have to flip it upside down because I think then this one is... no, it's going to be... right. Those always go down and into the center. So then that one's going to be that one. That one's going to be that one. So you got to flip same wing, opposite side. I'll get a little water. Let's see if these are actually starting to break free. And then we also got to get rid of some of the They're going to take a little longer to loosen. And I almost should leave them in the water because it also cleans them. Because that brownness sometimes sits on the top. I don't know if it's the clear they put on top of it that turns brown or if it's the paper. No, but that's what happened with the Klingon one. That brown mousse started smearing. You just had to make sure you cleaned it. I should almost get the other one soaking now. But I want to see if these are actually going to do something. There it goes. Try to slightly slide it off its normal sitting spot. See if I can get a little more water in there. So let's see, are you coming loose? We need to work on this one. There it is. So I should almost get this one soaking now, because it's going to take a while. And you leave it in the water. Let's see if we can get this one to come off with as little dirt, as little as that brown gunk as possible. I gotta take this one out. My cup's not that big. It's almost like they made these stripes almost too big. I guess they do wrap around the back side, so let's get some more. Let's see how it's turning the water brown. And a little brownness ain't gonna kill me, because like I said, it's gonna get weathered. It's just gonna have that pattern of, it's gonna be easier to move by hand. But how far back does that go? Let these slide over. See how it's brown water? Cat hair. Sorry if my head's in the way, because I need to see that alignment. Well, that works. It actually wraps around the back really good, so they did well, even with these old decals. I think that's it. I think. So that looks good, so we can go in here and start pulling up this nastiness and getting it nice and tight. And squishing out some of the nastiness that's in there. They're softened up pretty good because they're moving on me. But they're laying down pretty decent. For old decals, I am very amazed. It's usually a nightmare. Usually brittle. These are pretty flexible. So, obviously, MPC was using some quality decal. Whoever did their decals for them. How's this edge look? Yeah, I mean, they're so nice. They're folding, the extra is folding right over the edge perfectly, like a paint job. Even those. Unbelievable. The way it's folding over those tubes, that conduit line. I'm very, very impressed. Especially for an old... old decals. I've had new ones that don't lay this nice. I think as it dries, it's going to be better. But wow, now it's starting to look like Luke's X-Wing. Without that red, it just doesn't, that red ties it all together. So I'm excited, that worked well. So then this should be this side. Yep. Let's give it a little more moisture again. Definitely have time to play because I'm having to take a little bit of liberty to loosen up. For water, I have just a tiny bit of dishwashing soap in there to help it slide. That seems to work. It's always like a little wives' tale or something, but it does work. Let's see if I can get some more of that looking book. Oop, dripping water everywhere as I'm pulling off, see if I can clean some of it out. It just stinks. Whoop, don't want it to do that. Don't want it to fold on itself, but let's... There we go. Ooh, old. Ooh. I want you to sit on that gray. That's a water-based paint. Alright, let's get you in the shape at the right angle, and hopefully you'll line up very nicely like the other one. Put that red right at that edge and use that as a, yeah, boom, there it is. Now we go through and clean up the gook. I definitely want to get water off of that acrylic paint. It's going to soften it up. No, stick on my fingers, of course. It's getting it lined up. You want it to look like that edge on the other side, the way it's just laying over. Like it's a painted piece. Looks good. I am very excited. I am very happy with the results. Yeah, looks really good. So bam. There we go. So I'm going to continue with the others. Here, we'll do, well, since we're on the downside, and how are these loosening up? Oh, really good. Okay, so you are this one. Let's see if we can, wash a little more of that gunk off. That needs less of it to try to get rid of. When we're squishing, yeah, it's on the card. It's the paper or the glue or something. Keep that wet too. I don't know if I remembered to put water down before I stuck her down. Probably not. Probably did. I don't remember doing it. Well, hopefully she'll move. Yeah, she can move just fine. Now bring you up. Get you at the right angle. I like it. Now this first part is the where you gotta watch, keep making it move constantly. It's still kind of floating. The more and more water you get out of it, the better it'll stick. But hey, MPC or whoever you used back in the day, or it's just, just like even with cars, the quality was so much better back in the day. Looks like I have a little chipping there, but in this corner, but that's okay. That is part of the aesthetics of an X-Wing, especially this one that has fought in a lot of battles, especially with Luke. But even prior, like we saw in Rogue One, it was another person's, at least call signs. I don't know if it was the same ship, because that ship kind of got destroyed. So I guess, yeah, it wouldn't be the same one. They just did another one the same color, same, markings. But there it is. It looks really good. Grab a hold of this stable way. There we go. Get my thumb under the wing so I can press. Get that water out of there. If you want to chip, you can, let's chip you right off. That gives me a pre-chipped piece already. There you go. There you have it, and there's the top. And how well that looks now. That alone just makes the ship. Okay, we know now it's Red 5. Of course, because it's got defined markings, it tells you, but just even if that's not what that was for, that definitely brings it in that now that's Luke's X-Wing, and all those aren't so abundant. All the yellows and the grays and then I'll try to do a clear so it hardens, or I'll see if I can scratch before I clear if they place themselves down enough. I want to do some chipping, or we can do the old school sponge way, but if I can chip it the way it'll break sharply, it will look more like a flaking of the paint instead of the sponges are more round and weary. But yeah, see if we can do that, and then see if I still need to do some of the light misting of the white on there to tone stuff down. I'm not sure. That's what I'm looking to do. We're just going to dirty her up, Oh man, that looks good. So I will be back shortly after I grab something here to eat, and we'll get cutting those red stripes down to the way they should be and continue on. Okay, we're back. Having my little lunch. So let's get started on these side stripes, which we need to get a look at. And I didn't put that on my tablet, so I didn't think I'd really need to look at it, but I don't have to get in great detail on where they're at. I know pretty much, but I just want a second. Look at them for a second. Let's see, here we go. Nope, bring it back. So that kind of stops. Just a little past the yellow. So it kind of comes to that spot. So it's just going to be a hair pass. And we got to pick a point. This is the wrong side. It's going to be this one. We got to pick a point to where we want to go to. Probably is going to be best going off there. Close enough for me. That's what I got to do. Let's get the tools off the little cutting board. Flip it over so it's actually a little more flatter. Not all drill holes and everything else. And we're going to go off that tip. And like I said, it should only be. Yeah. Stick that over there. That looks right. So we're going to go by that tip to there. My little marker off the decal, mark it. And I'll use this. See, everything wants to get caught on stuff on those cutting boards. I'll use that as a square, use that edge to kind of give me a straight cut this way. And that's if this decal is even sitting on there square. It looks pretty level, like as far as the edge to the decal. It looks like it's pretty good. Good enough. I'm going to take this. Cut that off. And I guess we might as well get this one soaking in some water. Like I said, it takes a while. And that's where that's going to stop. Then this one's going to start here. And end here. So we're going to put that there. Put the decal right up. Put that there. Somewhere about here is where I want it to end. And that should get me across the panel line there. Because we don't want this little skinny piece, and then we don't want all that rear end. Give them a nice square cut. There you go, and that's an extra. So I'm going to do the same way, but I like to try to I'm going to keep the good part underneath the ruler so that I don't accidentally whoop into it. That should give me that other spot. Of course, that little dimple, that's from the sprue, is still there, but that should give me, it looks like it does, nicely. Yep, that lines up good as far as the height in that panel. Beautiful. So that's a keeper for stuff I forgot. Alright, how's this feeling? Oh, it's feeling good now. A little water here. Wonder if it'd be easier to do something like that. Guess that's how it's going to flow. We'll try to keep like a steady stripe pattern going here. Alright, yeah, this is the next piece. Should have got soaking before. So we're going to start cutting the other ones and getting them soaking. You gotta be patient with these, so let's, while we're doing that, go ahead and get this other one cut. Again, this looks like this is the bottom edge, and it seems to be staying on a pretty good plane, so that should give us a good square point. There we go. That's the front half of the other side. Spin it again because I want to keep the ruler on the part I want to keep. There we go. The first cut, I'm just doing a light score through the decal, and the next one I press to get cut through the paper. There's another section. Now we just spin it around again like this. Middle section, and then on this side we got an end section, and we already have a square edge there, so I poke myself in the hand. Oh, but yeah, let's again cut with the ruler on the part we want to keep. And that's an extra piece. And there's our rear end piece. We'll keep them all over there. But while I'm setting that up, I'm going to get the front for the other side soaking. Yeah, these you got to really pre-plan. Let's get this out of the way. Maybe these tweezers may come in handy. Let's see if this is. There we go. Hit you in the water again to really loosen up any of that brown gooky mess. Cat hair just does not want to not be in my hand. So, okay, let's get the ship in position here. This seemed to work good. Water on this, and that's going from about what, here to there. And yeah, so that's there we go. Try to match. Back that way more. That looks really good. Look down and make sure we look like we're flowing pretty good. Like that, we are. Alright, sorry, I just keep looking. This is ready, so we'll do this side. Let's do this. A little moisture there. So she'll move. I will dip this one more time. Just trying to get that lined up, and let's see if we're still matching the other side. Actually come up a bit. Just trying to keep these in the corner. You keep moving. So, alright, here we go again. I need to let go of that. What's that? Oh, my sinuses just drive me nuts. There we go. This is gonna go this way. I think this one, yeah, was shy. And I moved it. This goes too far forward. I want to see that seam line. Just a little more back. There we go. Like that. There's most of that side. And like I said, they're pretty much the same from side to side. This light's not. They're pretty much the same from side to side. This one is just a hair that way. It still stops at the same spot. These lined up really good. This one just starts, the other one started right there. This one just starts a hair back, which is great to give, like, some type of difference in the panels, especially from above. And then we'll have that red one right there. But wow, it's looking good. I'm so excited. Simple things that make me excited. Decals can really just bring the ship together. Oh no, she's ready. She's raring to go. There's that little bit of where I hit. I'm going to break that off right now. There we go. Alright, she's itching to go. So let's put her on her. Alright. That's going right here. This gives me a better situation here. basically trying to see and make sure that it lines all up. Now, like I said, this stripe gradually gets wider, not by much, but that's what the whole point of it's supposed to be. Not bad. Not bad at all. Very happy. So there it is. We are all decaled. I am going to let these decals cure. And, oh, let's get these up. Almost forgot about the writing we're going to do here. Woohoo! I'm sorry this is a long segment, but kind of what I've been doing with these videos. I know I could do the quick edits and say, oh, I'm going to do this, and then maybe do a little bit. And I do try to do that with redundant stuff. To try to not, like, make these videos too long. But sometimes it's fun, and I just keep going. And I really wanted to do these videos just as a documentary for me making these videos. And maybe if something happens with, you know, people can look back and watch, you know, watch them. You know, I was thinking more of my family, but you know, I could always edit them, so it's just like, okay, I'm going to do this, and then cut back, and then it's all done. And I, like I said, I do that on some redundant stuff, or, you know, but sometimes I just like to keep it rolling too, and just show you the whole process of thoughts and mistakes and fixings, and, you know, and the way I look at it is you can scroll and fast forward, you know, or this is just a good thing just to have lazily laying in the background while you're doing your own kit or something. That's what I do. Alright, let's see if these are ready. But yeah, I've been kind of doing these videos. I'm sorry if some are longer or not, or some may be short. I try to keep them short and edited, but I kind of just get going. And so a lot of times I'll split something into 2 parts and try to keep each video at least under an hour. But if it's going to only be 20 to 30 minutes longer to finish that segment, like building a wing or something, then I'll do that. Now, are these 3? And are they individuals? Yeah. I don't know why that one's moving as a group. Maybe it's supposed to. Is that a group one? Oh, it might be. I don't know. I didn't look at the... I'm going to cut that. I don't know if I can, now that it's moving. But that... I thought each one of these writings would be separate, but it is not. The bottom 2 are. They might have had other plans for these 2 here. But I have other plans for them. There we go, they cut. And you just want to come with, so you're the first one. You're jumping off the ship to get onto something, so we're going to put you right there. That one was like, me next. Q-tip. There it is, behind the knife. And no, I'm not leaving it there. I'm just trying to get rid of that brown mucky water. Because I think I can dip that in there again to try to get rid of the mucky water. Get my brush. Try to get some more moisture underneath the decal to help. There we go. Flush out that poopy water. I think it's always good to have some writing on these ships. like that. It gives us some more like military, like way you see our planes from the Navy and Air Force and stuff, Marines and stuff. Now I did that one that way, so we're gonna do the other one a little different. The other decal, spin her around. Try to. I'm gonna put her here in the chippy area. So you're gonna have to go like this. I mean, I know they're not on the X-Wing, at least that I've ever seen, writing. There is writing on the Snowspeeder, so why not? And can I grab, I think it's this one. Gotcha. Little fish. You're loose and clean. Don't wrap around yourself. If you're loose and clean, get you away from the brown milkiness. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to slap you right there. Like I said, the little black part I might still take off, the square. But like Air Force, it's always nice to try to tie these sci-fi ships into something real. And I'm thinking with this, it kind of pulls in like that name tag, or they always have stuff written close to the cockpit. So let's do it. And it actually looks good, I think. Camera's washing it out, but the light, yeah, I think that looks good there. Yeah, that's the one thing about white. The lights make everything washed. And the red ones look good. So I'll take pictures and have them in at the end of the video. That's what I seem to like to do. Let's see if this one's ready. It's a smaller decal, so it might get ready faster. What I'm going to do first is move it over to a clean spot on the paper. And get it wet again, because that helps move some of that nasty glue or whatever paper from underneath it. Like I said, this is so small decal. I'm just going to go right for it. Is there a little piece of carrier film going on the canopy? Yeah, just a tad. Oh, there you go. I like that. It gives some type of something to the ship. you know, makes it look more military. It's my my version, I guess. It's just simple little writing, and once it gets weathered and damaged and stuff, it'll all blend in and just give your eyes something, you know, that kind of pull you into reality. And since it's something that's similar that you see in the real world, it'll probably help your mind's eye to believe that this is something real. Well, like I said, what I'm doing right now is wiping on the this is the 20XA that I'm rubbing on here to help the decals shrink and tighten up, even though they are really tightened up pretty good. But there's a little bit here in this in the panel line parts. If you can get it in there, it'll help it. And it's helping pull away some of that yellowness that's still there. Flip her over. Do the other side. Definitely helping get rid of that yellow residue from the old decal paper or whatever. Oop, there's a little red mark there from marking these off. I need to get rid of it. Don't want to do that. Squish that writing. Will it move back? You don't know. Let's get some water there. I knew that would happen sooner or later. I tried to go lightly. What you do is you take your Q-tip and you do this little spinning motion like that, and that helps. There we go. She's back. Just going a little too erratic, and then you can hold the other end and make sure you got it straight. But yeah. Oh, now let's stick to my finger. How about it? Now, did we get a hair underneath the decal? We did, but it slid out. You're just going to be a stubborn one, aren't you? There we go. Square again. Try to hold one end and pull. rest of this dries. So like I said, this is helping get rid of all that nasty yellow water stain. Yeah, I like it. There is our X-Wing. Let's see if I can chip that little. Heck of a bubble there. Well, not really high, but just a little bit. So let's let that cure, and we'll come back. And what's next here on the agenda? Get a clear coat over, and then attach those and R2. And there's still, you know, a lot to do. The glue nose on ain't gonna be anything. Painting up R2 is gonna be tedious because it's very small painting. It's not going to be something that I can tape off. It's going to be something I have to actually just get in there and do. And it's not like the panels are that very well raised, but it's only got to simulate what he is. So, alright. This has been a long video take, but I hope you enjoyed. We'll be back soon and we'll start doing the rest of these things. So, see you soon.